BS job.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
This is Jeff in Woodstock, Connecticut.
This is Laura Benner in South Burlington, Vermont.
This is Jimmy Mack in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and this is The Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Taste the amazing difference of ButcherBox by signing up at butcherbox.com/Howie and get $20 off your first box, plus 2 pounds of wild-caught Alaskan salmon in your first box. butcherbox.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Was it wrong for the Pope to slap the hand of the woman who tugged on his arm?
Yes. I thought this guy was a proponent of the New Testament and turning the other cheek and, the breads and the loaves for welcoming the immigrant. This woman's on the rope line and he slaps her around.
57% say, yeah, he shouldn't have touched her.
All right. Okay.
Howie, I have a really funny de Blasio story I think you'd appreciate. It says,
yes.
Twitter mocks de Blasio's pricey Times Square pizza attack. So as everybody knows, Times Square is such a big place for New Year's Eve. And so what Domino's did was they walked around and they sold pizzas to the New Year's Eve goers for $30 a pizza.
Right.
And when Bill de Blasio saw the story, he tweeted, "To the thousands who came to Times Square last night to ring in 2020. I'm sorry this corporate chain exploited you. Stick it to them by patronizing one of our fantastic local pizzerias." The tweets he got back were hysterical. People said, wait, people pay a premium in Midtown Manhattan on a holiday? And someone else said, check the prices at a movie theater or a baseball game, or are you not that plugged into the life of the common man? People basically just explained to him the law of supply and demand.
The story was broken by the New York Post, which he despises because they're always after him. And so, of course, he didn't credit the New York Post for breaking the story. He made it sound like, he had his police out there checking it out, his consumer police department protecting the people who went to the event on New Year's Eve.
Oh yeah, he has such a crack team of investigators in the field reporting to him.
Did you see too? He blamed Donald Trump for the anti-Semitic attacks that are going on in New York.
Yeah.
And Grace, a couple of nights before those attacks really started, I did have dinner at Mar-a-Lago a couple of times over the vacation, and we were sitting near him, and he was sitting at a table with his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who was Jewish, and his daughter, Ivanka, who has converted to Judaism, and at least two or three of his grandkids who were Jewish. One of whom was ran up to Kimberly Guilfoyle. You'll love this story, Grace. And you know what she said when the kid, his name was Theo, he ran up to Kimberly Guilfoyle, who's Donald Jr.'s girlfriend, and said, Tiffany.
Oh, he got them mixed up.
Yes. And then he's tugging on the president's leg, and he's going, "Excuse me, Grandpa. Excuse me, Grandpa."
That's so cute. Well, Howie, I've said this before, and a lot of people have pointed this out. Trump has really got to step up his game if he wants to be this, white supremacist Nazi that they portray him as, because he's just doing a terrible job. I mean, his daughter converted to Judaism, as you pointed out. He frequently has Jewish leaders in the White House and compliments their yarmulkes. He just needs to, it's just 2020. He's got to, try a little bit harder if he really wants to be anti-Semitic.
Things are so bad in New York with these attacks on Jewish people. The guardian angels are coming back. Did you see that?
Yeah,
they were really dumping on. Somebody just texted me, so they were really dumping on De Blasio and Cuomo. A lot of this has to do too with just these new bail laws. Here's how bad it is in New York City. There was one. These roving bands or whoever they are attacked a Jewish guy in Williamsburg, which is Brooklyn, and so the cop said, "Do you know who did it?" And he said, "Yeah." They said, "Okay, you're going to file charges, right?" And he said, "No, I'm not going to file charges. If I file charges, the guy's going to be out without any bail, and he'll just come looking for me." So, you know,
and he'll be up $50 because they'll give him like a gift card for $50.
Yeah, we've gone from the witness protection program to the felon protection program. The witnesses have to go into hiding now, and then here's the other thing. This is another story that was in over the time we were gone. They're giving away gift cards now when they let you out. Gift cards. So all these liquor stores around the jails aren't taking these gift cards anymore because what could possibly go wrong? $25 gift cards. They go straight to the liquor stores. I'm Howie Carr. This is for my listeners who are still suffering from hair loss and thinning hair. I recently met up with the doctors at New England Center for Hair Restoration, and I was amazed at their consistent results. After hearing my story about hair loss, the doctors agreed to offer the first 40 listeners of my show an initial hair transplant procedure for only $6,000. You heard me right. New England Center for Hair Restoration is offering my listeners this exclusive opportunity to get a hair transplant procedure for the unbelievable price of $6,000. That's a savings of $4,000 for qualifying patients. If you've always wanted a hair restoration and couldn't afford it, New England Center for Hair Restoration is where you want to go. A hair transplant procedure for $6,000 for the first 40 people. This offer won't last long. For those who qualify, third-party financing is available with monthly payments as low as $119. Call 800-313-HAIR for your free consultation. That's 800-313-HAIR. Call 800-313-HAIR.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We were told by the experts that crack, you never go back. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts. They're going to put you all back in chains. Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word, jobs. Jobs. Jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile's amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures, and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy now.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much. But no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner?
Can you give me some Marianne Williamson stuff?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in
recent
What is
stuff,
the most trouble
or
you
you
ever
want
Just give me the
As a
crystals.
kid.
Give me the
My father was giving
crystals.
me
It looks
grief
like
one
she's
time
on her way out.
Moosehead Lake in
Sure.
Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
We all love President Trump's off-the-cuff comments, but he's never in rarer form than when he's speaking at a rally. Take a listen.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes, and now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying. I don't know. I'm not a vain person. But I look better under an incandescent light than these crazy lights that are beaming down on. That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Got a bigger problem than I do. Now he goes home and his mom says, "What the hell have you just done?" How do you top that? I'm just ready, the big, beautiful crescendo, and this character's going back home. One person just going home to mommy a little bit sooner. These are phony people, but that's okay. You know, when you think of it, I'm president and they're not. You really have to elect me. Whether you like me or not, it makes no difference, because our country will go to hell if any of these people get in.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. First, this is, they always say the day after the NFL season ends is Black Monday because they start firing coaches, although this year they kind of got an early jump on it. Well, I guess this is Black Tuesday for Democrat presidential candidates. First, it was Julian Castro dropping out, and now it's being reported that Marianne Williamson. I'm reading my.
This light pours into your brain, restoring, healing, revitalizing every cell.
She is, according to a New Hampshire news outlet, she has laid off the entirety of her national presidential campaign staff. Oh, that's a good way to start the year. Despite the gutting, Williamson allegedly remains in the race. I'm looking into my crystal ball, and I don't see much after the next couple of weeks for Marianne.
The light continues.
A light. You know what the light is?
The light.
You're going into the tunnel.
All.
At the other end of the tunnel, there's a light. It's the train.
So
it's the train coming at you, Marianne. 844-500-4242. This thing about these attacks on Jewish people in New York, it's horrible. There was an attack, I guess, on the last night of Hanukkah up in one of the suburban communities where a lot of Orthodox Jewish people live. And this guy attacked with a machete. And he basically killed one guy who's on life support, a frail, older man. And so the New York Post went in to interview some judge, used to be a cop, who had let him go. He was supposed to be locked up about 1 million times. His mother, this guy's mother, who attacked the religious ceremony with a machete and hurt 5 people pretty badly. Obviously, he had been convicted, or he was in court on a crime, and the judge wouldn't imprison him or wouldn't sentence him to active jail time. And so the New York Post went up and found the judge, a former cop, in his driveway, and said, "What the hell happened here?" And the judge said, "I can't really comment because everything's sealed, but I just went along with the agreement from the prosecutor and the public defender." And I read that, and I said, "I've written that exact same story in Massachusetts." That's what they said about the guy who. The homeless African vagrant, not even a citizen. He had a green card apparently, but so he wasn't technically an illegal alien, but he had no job. That's what they did with the guy robbed 2 banks, and they said, "Oh, we don't want to deport him, so we won't give him federal charges. We'll just give him state charges." And then they gave him 364 days, so he wouldn't be deported at the end of doing. I think he did 7 months with time off for good behavior, and it was the exact same story. The judge said, "Hey, don't blame me. I just, if the prosecutor and the defense come in with an agreement, who am I to dispute the agreement?" So it's just like everybody's blaming each other. It's his fault. It's his fault. And this is going on all over the country, and not just with the illegal aliens. Obviously, this crazy guy who he was arrested in Harlem a few hours later. He drove back. he was cut loose over and over and over again. And again, like I said, this is so crazy. This whole thing, not only are they letting them out of jail with no bail, and again, it was passed by the legislature. As soon as the Republicans lost control of the state Senate in New York in the 2018 elections, the Democrats rammed through this bill, and it was signed into law by Cuomo, the governor in Albany, saying that for not just for misdemeanors, but for some felonies, they're not even going to have bail. No bail for any of these people. And so, and they wonder why there's a crime problem. And then it gets worse because, again, this is not being reported in the New York Times, only the New York Post, only the conservative newspaper. When they bring them in, they're giving them gift cards. It's like being at a kid's birthday party, and you give them a treat, a $25 gift card. And it's so bad that these liquor stores around the jails or the courts are being deluged with criminals coming out with $25 gift certificates, which they use to buy booze. What do you think? When they drink $25 worth of booze, what do you think happens a lot of the time? They get all emboldened to commit some other crimes. And so they get arrested, so they get another $25 gift card. You think they're showing up for their court appearances? I don't think so. So this woman, she's on the front page of the New York Post today. Look at here. She is finally jailed after third bust. Finally jailed. She attacked 3 young Jewish women, Orthodox Jewish women in Brooklyn. They let her out. She attacks a young Jewish mother with an infant and a toddler. And then the third time, they bring her in front of a social worker, and she attacks the social worker. And they finally said, you know what? Maybe we can hold her. Third time. This is going on all over. And again, it's not just in New York. It's worse right now in New York, but it's look at this headline. What is it? What are we in? Weimar Germany here? Or post-Weimar Germany, when after Hitler took over, 2 more attacks on Jews targeted on street and bus in Brooklyn? This is ridiculous. This is what happens. And the only thing that was holding it back was the Republican Senate in New York State. And they were just teetering for several years, and they had a few conservative Democrats, like some of the people from the Orthodox Jewish districts in Brooklyn. And then it finally got flipped over, and this is what's happening. 844-500-4242. Mike, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, welcome back, Howie.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, is this any shock to anybody down in New York? Sharpton and his crew have been down there pushing this anti-Semitism for 30-some odd years. Starting with, Freddie's Fashion Mart all the way up. And, it's no shock that this is happening down in New York, And I mean, it's happening elsewhere, but that's been the root of it for years down there.
I mean, what good can possibly come of letting someone commit a crime of violence and then not holding them to account? I mean, what do you think the lesson that the perpetrator of the crime is going to learn? He's going to learn that he can do just like this woman. They're not going to hold me accountable for what I did. They're just going to let me go. Finally jailed in third bust. She could have killed somebody.
Yeah, it sounds like New York's having a race to the finish line with California about who's going to go down the drain first.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
I know. All
right, Howie.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. 844-500-4242. I don't know what the end game is. Is somebody trying to short the dollar and just create chaos? This is not. This is or increase real estate property values in Florida, in Texas. Where it's not quite out of control. It's not good. They're going back to the 70s in New York. 844-500-4242. Marty, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, hello, Howie, and to everybody else listening here today. I'm calling because I think Congress is going to have to go back to work, seeing that they're not following through with this impeachment thing. So they're going to have to do something, and maybe they can start and readdress immigration And I'm just going to refer back. Thank God that we don't have a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate, because if you go back to the Immigration Act of 1917, when Woodrow Wilson was president, he vetoed the bill. But this is what the Democratic House and the Democratic Senate proposed in that amendment, and then they overrode his veto, as a matter of fact. And so the Congress, they overrode the veto. But in alphabetical order, here's what they wanted to do in their Immigration Act. They want to ban from immigrating to the United States alcoholics, anarchists, contract laborers, criminals, convicts, epileptics, feeble-minded persons.
Yeah, I remember
idiots,
the feeble-minded
illiterates,
part.
imbeciles, insane persons, paupers, persons afflicted with contagious diseases, persons being mentally.
You don't need to go on. I mean, that's what Ellis Island was all about. You know, it was you were quarantined until they were sure that you didn't have an infectious disease that you were going to pass on. And you know, and into the 60s, to come into the United States of America, you needed a sponsor. You needed someone to say, I'm going to, I will assure that this person will not become a ward of the state. I mean, what is wrong with that? I mean, that's just common sense, isn't it? You wouldn't invite somebody into your house who was going to become a deadbeat, and you were going to have to rely on them and pay for their health care and teach them the English language and support them because they didn't want to work. I mean, why would you want to import a whole new underclass? It makes no sense. And the immigration system was working fine the way it was, and it was accepting a slow trickle of people. They were being assimilated into the United States. They were becoming Americans. And, from what I can see, and I don't think anything's going to change in 2020, the people that are most angry about this out of control illegal immigration that's been going on are the legal immigrants, the people who jumped through the hoops, the people who paid thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars to become U.S. citizens or to get the green cards. And the people who had to get sponsors, who worked hard when they came over here, as opposed to people just coming in and demanding handouts. This is ridiculous. Thanks for the call, Marty. Sam, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Sam.
Yes, I'm up. I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious about a couple of things. You watch all these people on stage in their podiums sucking out of these plastic water bottles. Do they recycle them?
Yeah, that's a good point, Sam. A lot of the people that are really into it are saying, don't drink the water out of the plastic bottles. And there are actually a few of the really woke states have put deposits on the water bottles. I think California, Maine, Hawaii. I don't know what other states, but there are a few of them that have put them on. But you got a point there, Sam. I mean, isn't a bottle of water when it's empty, it's just as much of a blight on the environment as a bottle of an empty bottle of Diet Coke or Dr. Pepper, isn't it?
It tastes just good, Okay, and the other thing I was wanting to ask, these people that you see on TV all the time, if they don't have their big limos, how are they going to get to Starbucks to buy their $8 cups of latte and without two big SUVs escorting them? You know?
Yeah. I used to see occasionally there when Ted Kennedy was still alive and John Kerry was the senator, they would you'd see they'd pull up at the old Ritz-Carlton in Boston in January, like right now when it's the coldest time of the year. And you know how when you go to the cell phone lots, Sam, they always tell you can only keep your car on for 5 minutes because we're trying to protect the environment. These guys would go in to a hotel for a long lunch, and in the case of Ted Kennedy, a liquid lunch. And those SUVs would be right out front there on Newbury Street, and they would never turn them off for obvious reasons, Sam. But, that's the thing about these laws, and it's like Leonardo DiCaprio. I saw a picture of him in the New York Post today with his 22-year-old girlfriend. He's down in the Caribbean somewhere. I mean, he didn't take a commercial airliner down there, Sam. He went down on his private jet, and probably he's heading when he leaves St. Bart's or wherever he was, he's heading to some global warming conference to lecture us peons about how we have to get rid of our SUVs. But of course, he doesn't have to get rid of his private jet. Thanks for the call, Sam. Those are a couple of good points. 844-500-4242. I'm glad to be back. I'm Howie Carr.
He's suave, he's debonair, he's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you today in part by the Conversations with Grace podcast. Hear Grace's compelling conversation with former Maine Governor Paul LePage. Never before heard stories and political news too. All at HowieCarrShow.com. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think it could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think it could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844 A Perfect Smile. 844 A Perfect Smile.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
This is Chris in Rochester, Mass.
This is Mark in Nashville, New Hampshire.
This is Lorna in Truckstown, Pennsylvania. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Here's the picture of, I don't know how much you can see here, but this is Leonardo DiCaprio with his 22-year-old girlfriend in St. Bart's. I'm sure they took a tramp steamer or a freighter down. They didn't take any private jets, though, because they're worried. They're really worried about their carbon footprints. No, they're worried about our carbon footprints. They're not worried about their carbon footprints. 844-500-4242. Somebody says in some places now they're only selling boxed water in milk-style cartons. Yeah, I've seen those. But I mean, doesn't that take a lot of energy to create the I mean, I know it's recyclable in the sense of it's made out of paper product, but still that takes a lot of energy to create that little box, doesn't it? Someone also says Connecticut also has a returnable deposit on water bottles. 844-500-4242. Dawn, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dawn.
Hi, Howie. So I wanted to know if you could comment on something. I was watching a little rerun of AOC in some town hall with her supporters. And one thing she said was, and it rubbed me the wrong way, and I want to know, I don't know a lot about politics, so I want to know your thoughts. She said, everyone's always talking about free stuff. I never want to hear that term free stuff. This is not free stuff. This is public property.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sure she said that, Dawn. But here's the problem: when you make everything public property, pretty soon you don't have much property of any kind, right? I mean, look at Venezuela. Venezuela used to be one of the richest countries in the Americas, in the hemisphere, and now it's the North Korea of the Western Hemisphere. It for the same reason that North Korea is the Venezuela of Asia, because if everybody owns the means of production, then nobody's taking care of the means of production. That's how stupid she is. One of the best things about the depopulation of New York, and the people are just fleeing it for all these reasons, not just these racially motivated attacks and this crazy system of no bail. It's also the economy is in extremis, especially now Wall Street is not doing all that well because everything is being traded by algorithms and computer programming. So all the hedge funds are going down the tubes, and they're not getting the value of Manhattan real estate is finally going down the drain. The Empire State, not much of an empire anymore. I'm Howie Carr.
Around this time of year, people often say to us, "Hey, Matthews Brothers, happy birthday. You look great for your age, and how the heck does a company stay in business for so long anyway?" We usually respond by paraphrasing Joe Biden and say 2 words: do your job. It takes a lot of people to produce our wicked, awesome made windows, and not all of us are on the production line. We have people paying bills and collecting bills, people ordering material and counting material, salespeople on the road and salespeople in the office, people maintaining the computer network that keeps us all running, and even people making stupid radio commercials. And the reason we have so many people is because there are so many jobs to do. And without each and every one of these people doing their job, the windows don't get made. Okay, we could probably do it without this stupid radio commercial guy, but not the rest. You can see the wicked, awesome, made results of our teamwork, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with 1 T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first cat. And then I had possession of 2 poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money,
excuse
me. I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
Right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year, because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stairs, and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
I'm sorry, someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, you know? I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
I'm so proud of the campaign we've run together. But with only a month until the Iowa caucuses, and given the circumstances of this campaign season, I've determined that it simply isn't our time. So today, it's with a heavy heart and with profound gratitude that I will suspend my campaign for president. Ganaremos un día.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
I have a big announcement, and it's somewhere on my body.
Someone did something a little weird to me when I was down there.
I don't want to know.
But it had to do with white power. I went hard in 2019. Watch 2020, baby.
I'm having a hard time enunciating because you're plying me with alcohol. So what is Jaeger? Why is this different than tequila?
It's kind of licorice-y.
This is CNN.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
How old are you, honey? You're 11 years old. Talk to me before we leave, okay?
As I keep getting older, they stay the same age. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
I agree.
Don't touch kids ever again. Don't touch kids, you pervert.
unchained and unstoppable.
To our adversaries, does it appear that President Trump is vulnerable right now when you look at him facing impeachment and an election?
I think the Iranians are going to continue putting this pressure on us no matter what.
And if I read you correctly, the Democrats might be favored by Iran because a Democrat might re-enter that nuclear agreement.
Exactly.
I'd love to try the case. If you give me the case, I will prosecute it as a racketeering case. It's been 30 years ago, but let's see if I can still do it.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. I'm so happy to be back, and I'm in Florida again, and I'll be back though for my birthday, January 17th. I'll be back that whole week, and we'll be having VIP nights when I'm back, and we'll also on my birthday evening, January 17th, we'll be doing the show from the Local. It's a great place, a great chain of restaurants in suburban Boston, and this will be in the new Local in Waltham. It's right off of Route 128, and it's free. Everybody just come on in. You can buy your own food and drink, but you can have a free piece of cake, and everybody who comes in can get a free book of mine. I don't know which books it'll be, but we're going to have a great party. Grace and I will be there. That's on January 17th. So start making your plans. Right now, though, it's time for the Chump Line.
Hey, Howie. If those articles of impeachment ever make it to the Senate, they shouldn't vote whether to acquit or convict. They should vote solemnly and prayerfully to throw them in the garbage.
Did you see another one of Joe Biden's great holiday moments was when he said he wouldn't obey a subpoena from the Senate to testify. Of course, Trump is being impeached for inquiring about possible crimes that could have been committed by Joe Biden and his crackhead son, Hunter Biden. But Joe Biden doesn't feel compelled to answer a subpoena or to obey a subpoena. He changed his mind, of course, later on. And we do have a sound cut. Taylor, can you play that sound cut again, just in case people didn't hear it?
Which one was it?
The sound cut about everybody, the creepy Joe sound cut about everybody under the age of 15 gets a prize.
All right, give me a minute to pull that up.
All right, that'll be a minute. It'll take us a moment to pull it out, but we'll imagine Joe wearing a clerical collar, or imagine Harvey Weinstein or Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein perhaps is a better one. Imagine Jeffrey Epstein saying this when you finally hear it.
Yeah, Howie, now that December has come to an end and it's officially 2020, can we say that Eric Swalwell's fart was the smartest thing heard on MSNBC during 2019?
We do have it on the greatest hits list. Cut 25, Taylor.
Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
I've got that Biden clip too.
Okay, now we're going to hear from Joe Biden pretending to be Jeffrey Epstein.
I want to start off by thanking everybody under the age of 15. We owe you, big kiddo. I don't know how you got here, but thank you. After it's over, come up and talk to me for a minute, okay? Promise, all right? Anybody under 15, you get something special today, because I tell you what, this got to be boring for you. But thank you.
Something special for you. Speaking of Jeffrey Epstein, the New York Post is reporting today that Ghislaine, whatever her name is, the girlfriend, Maxwell, is in a safe house in Israel. She's being shuttled from safe house to safe house by various Western intelligence services. And here's the quote: Ghislaine is protected. She and Jeffrey were assets of sorts for multiple foreign governments. They would trade information about the powerful people caught in his net, caught at Epstein's house.
Copy.
Interesting. I think there's probably something to that. The Chump Line is brought to you every weekday at this time by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, reassuring everybody that no matter how different Howie may look, he pretty much sounds the same. Consistency is the mark of a champion, and that's important in talk shows, presidents, and window companies. Do I look any different, Taylor? Do you think I look any different?
You've got a glow about you, Howie.
After the
you do look a little more. It's a little fuller. Your face. It's not. Doesn't seem worn or drawn. Seems vibrant.
No, I think, and it's only half done. Is the procedure.
They didn't do the left half, huh?
They didn't do this. I said, I'm probably gonna see the president tomorrow night. Maybe I don't want the entire procedure done, so they're gonna come back and do this when I'm back in town next. So that's what's coming up. I think I'm looking better every day too. As time goes on, it's going to take about 6 weeks for it to really kick in, and it's about 10 days at this point. It's almost 2 weeks. Almost 2 weeks now.
It gets better with time.
I can't wait till tomorrow, Taylor, because I get better looking every day.
Maybe they should ban marijuana-flavored marijuana.
I got to get to this story about the vaping controversy, and now Trump. Trump wants to do the right thing about this, but I think he begins to understand that people have gotten his ear and said, maybe we want to do something about flavors to try to discourage teens from getting into vaping, but we don't want to ban the product outright because it's better for adults to be vaping than it is for them to be smoking cigarettes.
Nancy Pelosi should say a few prayers for the Patriots. She prays for Trump, and all he does is win.
Maybe she ought to say a prayer of thanks for the fact that they basically handed the 49ers their starting quarterback. I think they could use Garoppolo next year, couldn't they? Probably, maybe they'll use him on Saturday.
Howie, Governor LePage calling. Did I hear Hunter Biden's in trouble with the IRS? How long till he gets his own MSNBC show?
That's a very good point. The judge in the paternity case has recused himself. Usually, they're questions that are raised when a judge recuses himself, whether it's in the Michael Flynn case or in the case of this judge who wasn't real grammatically on sound footing, but he seemed to have the right instincts for the fact that Hunter S. Biden is a bit of a reprobate, shall we say, charitably.
Yeah, this is Bill de Blasio. Can I get a pizza? I'd like a large cheese tomato. Listen, can you cut that in 6 slices? Because I don't think I could eat 8.
Yeah, I heard that they were chopping up the slices and selling them they were calling them Lucy's. Get it? Lucy's? Like they did with the cigarettes, and the guy ended up dying on Staten Island. Lucy's.
Howie, when is someone from Children's Protective Services going to slap an ankle brace on Joe Biden?
I wasn't thinking of Children's Services so much as the sex offender registry. I mean, what level is that? What he was just doing? If you're under the age of 15, we got something special for you today. I mean, who was that? Was that Roman Polanski or Joe Biden or Jeffrey Epstein or Joe Biden or Father Shanley?
Love it. I never thought I'd say this, but I'm glad Genghis Collar is back. If he got a nickel every time Tucker Taylor mentioned that awful Frank Sinatra, Genghis Carr wouldn't need to collect empty cans anymore.
Now I'm officially a Florida man. There is no deposit on bottles or cans, even on carbonated adult beverages here in the Sunshine State of Florida.
In my defense, Howie, John Forbes Kerry always brought up the chairman first.
He did?
Oh, yeah. He always brought him up. On the Chump Line, he would razz me about my affection for old Blue Eyes.
Well, you and Grace got stellar reviews pretty much across the board for your filling in for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Howie, when you were doing valet parking at Mar-a-Lago over the holidays, did you park any nice cars?
I didn't come here to be made sport of, you know.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Howie Carr chump line today. The chump line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The chump line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, is 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2, leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. The Chump Line is brought to you again in 2020 by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, reassuring everyone that no matter how different Howie may look, he pretty much sounds the same. I hope so. Consistency is the mark of a champion, and that's important in talk shows, presidents, and window companies.
Nancy Pelosi should say a few prayers for the Patriots. She prays for Trump, and all he does is win.
Yeah, it's quite possible the Titans will be preying on the Patriots come Saturday evening. Preying. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Orion Metal Exchange. For a free investing kit from Orion, text free kit to 484848. That's free kit to 484848.
Are you looking for a pre-owned car? Well, before you go to the dealership where you'll be pounced on by pushy salespeople, give the Car Guys a try. I'm Bill Papageorge, and my job is to make finding the perfect used car as easy as possible. That means I do all of the tough legwork for you. Once I figure out what you want out of a car, I go find it. I've been in this business for a long time, and I know what to look out for. I won't bring you a car unless I know it will meet or exceed your expectations. So give me a call at 800-300-4600. That is 800-300-4600.
Hey, business owners and marketing professionals, would you like to advertise on the Howie Carr Radio Network? Howie's show reaches all across New England. And you know who's listening? Your next customer, client, or business lead. If you're interested in advertising on the Howie Carr Show, call 800-227-7300. That's 800-227-7300. You're listening to Howie, and so is your next customer. Call 800-227-7300 right now.
You might hear a lot about Bernie, Biden, and Elizabeth Warren, but what about the lightweights who are running for president? Here's a best of the B team.
I've listened to some of my colleagues, Mr. Glover, tell you how much they like your movies. And I have to say, we didn't come here to talk about your movies. We came here to talk about your activism. I like your activism. I also like your movies, but I want to give you a chance because I haven't heard the other side other than tell you that they like they like your movies.
I think the NRA is the worst organization in this country for doing exactly that. They care more about the profits than the American people.
I learned a long time ago about polling. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I mean, right now, I got nowhere to go but up.
Millions living in the shadows, working some of the toughest jobs, kept in modern day bondage.
People commit crime. Crime happens.
I have won every single congressional district in my state, including Michelle Bachmann's, okay? That's when you guys are supposed to cheer.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Howie, we'll do poll question after 5:30. Okay.
This is Karen from Billerica, Massachusetts.
This is Adrian in Swanton, Vermont.
This is Miss Susan up in Warner, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. And Jay in Chelsea says, you just referred to yourself as a Florida man. If you're making the official residency jump, I hope it goes a lot smoother than Rush when he left New York. Listen, Jay, I know I'm not going to be able to not pay income taxes in the state of Massachusetts, but I'm at least beginning the process because I had to renew my driver's license before my birthday. Yeah. So I decided it was just easier to do it in Florida for one reason among many. I can walk to the Department of Motor Vehicles from where I am in Florida. I can walk just about everywhere from where I live. And I didn't want to have to come back and fight the snow right before my birthday to renew my driver's license. And if God forbid something happened and I couldn't renew my driver's license and I would be stuck in Arctic New England, not be able to get back. Anyway,
Hate mail.
It's time now for our special Monday feature, which is today on Thursday, Hate Mail Monday.
Let the hate flow through you.
Yes, everyone, it is time for Hate Mail Monday, as always, powered by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. Whether it's rolls or crunchy bread or sub rolls or hot dog rolls, Piantadosi is the best bread around, so make sure you find it at your local markets.
Grace, there can't possibly be any shortage this week because I got so much hate mail from the tweet that I put out with me and the president together at Mar-a-Lago.
There is no shortage, Howie, but I do have some very funny voicemails I want to play. Yeah. So I'm going to start with cut 29, Taylor.
Well, you guys are just as racist as you ever want to be. And you also are the enemy of the state. Have a good day.
Enemy of the state. Wow. That sounds like the George Orwell book that he died before he could write. Enemy of the state.
Yeah, we're up there. We used to just be a nuisance, and now we're the enemy of the state. All right, next up, we have, following the same theme, this is cut 30.
You guys are a couple of you conservatives don't know what you're doing. You're kind of stupid, and I would suggest waking up to things. Okay, bye.
You know, one thing I noticed, Grace, I've noticed it before, but it becomes increasingly apparent in woke lexicon. If you disagree with anything they say, you're a racist.
Oh, well, it's funny you should say that because you wrote a column on Elizabeth Warren, and this person said only a city as racist as Boston would let a bleep, and I'll tell you what it rhymes with. It rhymes with tracker. Like if you were to track someone down.
Yeah.
Like Howie Carr spout this kind of racist bleep. The deep north is alive and well in Boston.
Wait a second. Elizabeth Warren is whiter than I am, Grace.
You're racist, though.
So why can I not attack her?
Well, I'm not that. I don't have the answers, Howie. I just have the hate. That's all I bring to the table. But Howie, I have another one. You missed this, but Taylor was going down memory lane and he was talking about something I had never heard of.
It was a chump line. Somebody said, Taylor, can you please return my Victrola? I haven't seen it in a while.
Because Taylor has a soul that is older than Joe Biden's, and somehow I'm the one getting made fun of. This is Cut 31.
Well, this is great. You're down in Florida trying to ride on Trump's coattails, and then you have Balloonhead, who, mind you, went to college for theater, doesn't know what a Victrola is. You're a great businessman. Unbelievable.
I believe you know what a Victrola is, don't you, Taylor?
Oh, I do. The balloon head in this case was Grace, not me.
I beg your pardon. That is office. What is the word?
File a complaint.
I'm going to file one. You just call me a balloon head. How dare you?
It's in the podcast where I had to explain to Grace what a Victrola was, and it was the great pleasure of the week.
I'm a theater major. I was acting like I didn't know what it was.
And Grace says what happens in Needham stays in Needham.
Yeah, exactly.
Taylor wasn't supposed to mention any of that?
No.
Okay.
By the way, someone says Howie Carr is the biggest phony on radio. If it wasn't for Jerry Williams, he would still be doing Hackorama at the Boston Herald. I have good news for you, Mike. He still works at the Boston Herald, so the Hackorama continues.
I had 3 out of the top 8 click stories of 2019. I think I had about 20 or 25 of the top 100. That's me. Hate Mail Monday. We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr. Something I look forward to every month is my shipment from ButcherBox. ButcherBox delivers 100% grass-fed and grass-finished beef, organic, free-range chicken, heritage breed pork, and wild-caught Alaskan salmon directly to your door with free shipping. ButcherBox is the most convenient way to get meat the way it's meant to be. Natural, fresh, and delicious. Choose from 4 curated boxes or customize your own box with all of your favorite cuts. And if you want to try something new, ButcherBox has a ton of awesome recipes and resources on their website that'll help you bring out all the flavor of each cut of meat you get from ButcherBox. And to make things better, ButcherBox is offering new members $20 off your first box plus 2 pounds of wild-caught Alaskan salmon when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Howie. Again, that's butcherbox.com/Howie for $20 off your first box plus 2 pounds of wild-caught Alaskan salmon free in your first box. Butcherbox.com/Howie. And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word?
Poop.
Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I've ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop?
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt Bee has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name BB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a male. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. He's Howie Carr.
We will bring over your entire family from the third world Muslim hellhole that they live in so that they can have an all expenses paid, taxpayer funded with open bar weekend at a nice hotel in Boston, a nice sightseeing tour, maybe take them to Fenway Park for a game so they can see their savage Muslim terrorist kinsman sentenced to death. But the president of the United States of America can't be allowed to speak before Parliament because he's such a terrible barbarian, as opposed to the dictator of Red China. And I'm going to call it Red China. Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right? Russia isn't even a communist dictatorship; it's just authoritarian now. But let's call it Red China.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
The culture, our culture, our culture. It's not imported from some African nation or some Asian nation. It's our English jurisprudential culture, our European culture.
Where was that? When was that from?
The same speech where he was supposedly or allegedly preying upon children.
Jurisprudential. Is that anything like prudential life insurance? I mean, that's a word I never heard. But, you learn a lot from creepy Joe Biden. Taste the amazing difference of ButcherBox by signing up at butcherbox.com/Howie and get $20 off your first box, plus 2 pounds of wild-caught Alaskan salmon in your first box. butcherbox.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the jurisprudential poll question of the day for us?
Was it wrong?
I don't know. Maybe it's a word. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, unlike Joe Biden. I didn't get almost tossed out of Syracuse University Law School for plagiarism.
And you didn't go to Delaware State either.
No, and I'm not the first card out of the Welsh coal mines in 1,000 generations.
Was it wrong for Pope Francis to slap the hand of the woman who tugged on his arm?
Yes, it was.
43% say no.
40. Okay. I don't know why they say
They think he was within his right. I think he was within his right to slap the woman. Don't tug on people.
Listen, Corey Lewandowski had to hire a lawyer down here in Palm Beach County when he tried to prevent a reporter from touching his boss, Donald Trump. Remember that?
Well, the Pope can hire a lawyer.
I don't think the Pope has to worry too much about being lugged in Vatican City or wherever the hell he was. All right. 844-500-4242. I just wanted to read this story. This was a pretty funny story from Fox. Some of the more outrageous 2020 doomsday predictions that didn't pan out. And this is not just Bernie saying the world's going to end in 8 years or AOC saying it's going to end in 12 years. The United States may warm 6 degrees Fahrenheit from 1990 to 2020. How'd that one work out? I love this one. This is 1990, the Washington Post. Democracy dies in darkness, or is it duplicity? Carbon dioxide is the gas most responsible for predictions that the Earth will warm on average about 3 degrees Fahrenheit by the year 2020. The United States, because it occupies a large continent in higher latitudes, could warm by as much as 6 degrees Fahrenheit. So in other words, because it's a bigger country, it's going to warm more than Luxembourg? Is that what the Washington Post was saying? Well, it didn't really matter because it warmed less than 1 degree. Oil will effectively run out by 2020. If you haven't filled up before New Year's Eve, it's too late now. We're out of oil. CNN ran a headline in 2003 titled "World and Oil and Gas Running Out." The New York Times reported in 1989, this was now 31 years ago, that untapped pools of domestic oil are finite and dwindling. Finite and dwindling. This last year, the United States became a net oil exporter for the first time in 75 years, since World War II. So they called up the reporter who wrote the story, Philip Shabakov. "I'm not Nostradamus," he said, adding. And he said that, unfortunately, so he admitted that he was wrong but he said he was only quoting somebody. "Unfortunately, human ingenuity," he's retired now, this reporter, "is often undermined by political ideology and greed." Greed is a synonym among all New York Times reporters, present or former, for Donald Trump. "So we have not been able to bring human ingenuity to bear on urgent questions like climate change." We're not talking about climate change, Mr. New York Times fake news reporter. We're talking about running out of oil, and it didn't happen. Here's another one. "By 2020, no glaciers will be left on Mount Kilimanjaro." That's a recurring theme. "It's now estimated that by the year 2020, there will be no glaciers on Mount Kilimanjaro." Christian Lamberts, as an officer at the UN Environmental Program, told CNN in 2003. And then some other guy named a glaciologist named Lonnie Thompson predicted that the snows would disappear, on Kilimanjaro would disappear. And they found this guy. Fox News found this guy, Lonnie Thompson, and he said he stood by his prediction. What we now have are ice bodies. The definition of a glacier is ice in motion. So there's still ice and there's still snow, but we don't call them glaciers anymore. I'm standing by what I said. There aren't any more glaciers on Kilimanjaro. There's only ice bodies. You begin to see now why they don't make predictions, except for people like Bernie Sanders and AOC who haven't figured out the game yet. They don't make predictions in 10 years or 20-year increments anymore, because chances are a lot of the people that are reading it or are seeing it are going to be alive in 10 or 20 years. They make predictions 100 years down the road. They don't have to worry. They could still do a story about it, but they're not going to be able to find them in the phone book.
Plus, Howie, that way, if the predictions come true, see, it's happening faster than what we said. This is a much more imminent danger than we thought.
This is an existential crisis for the world. Okay, here's another one. By 2020, millions will die from climate change. Millions.
Very fake news.
Reuters news service wrote this headline: "Millions will die unless climate policies change." Well, climate policies did change. We have fracking now, right? So, and millions haven't died, not from climate. They've died, but not from climate change. The report said 8 million people would die by 2020, citing a prediction in the Lancet Medical Journal. And a climatologist at the University of Alabama, Huntsville, Roy Spencer, I think this is the guy who's on Rush's show sometimes. "It's amazing that the public can continue to believe these apocalyptic predictions despite a 95% decline in weather-related deaths in the last 100 years." So these are just some of the apocalyptic stories, and I'm sure, but again, you don't read too much anymore about what's going to happen in 5 or 10 or 20 years. It's always 100 years now. 844-500-4242. 808 says, "Turns out if you were a climate science denier in 1999, you were right." Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, Taylor, someone else has a good point here about the woman who grabbed the Pope. Said when somebody grabbed Jesus's, when the woman who grabbed Jesus's cloak didn't, when she did that back in the New Testament days, Jesus didn't turn around and slap her, you know?
No, but he said, "Your faith has made you whole." I mean, it wasn't a retribution or anything. But the Pope isn't Jesus. He's human.
But he's infallible.
He has a right to defend himself.
Do you think the woman was really trying to hurt him?
No, but it was definitely a faux pas and was violent in nature. And I'm sure she didn't mean to be violent, but, you know, the guy's trying to walk away and he's being pulled back like Curly and Moe in the Three Stooges.
So you think he was justified?
Yeah.
He was working a rope line.
But she
if the chairman of the board invited people up onto the stage and one of them grabbed him, whose fault would that be?
If they violently grabbed him, yeah, he would have.
Why did they used to put up chicken wire fences at the old roadhouses in the South where people like Hank Williams played? They would put
because a lot of people couldn't stand country music.
Because a lot of people were throwing beer bottles and cans and whatever else they could throw at the performers. You know, I mean, you just got to get used to it. 844-500-4242. I just wanted to mention this again. This is a story that came out over the time when I was away. But it's about vaping and marijuana, and it was a great editorial in the Wall Street Journal, which kind of summed it up. A surge in vaping-related lung illnesses this year caught the medical community by surprise, with the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, reporting more than 2,500 lung illnesses and 54 deaths. Politicians are targeting e-cigarettes, but the CDC reported last week that marijuana is so far the greatest common denominator. The same political culture that is in a fury over legal opioids and is trying to bankrupt drug companies as compensation seems to have no problem celebrating a drug that may be damaging young brains for a lifetime. And again, I'm not saying that anyone who smokes pot should be put in jail or anything like that. It just seems like we have a crazy set of priorities, making it a positive thing that marijuana is being legalized in 11 states and counting. In October, the CDC reported that 86% of 867 patients with available data had used products containing THC, that's marijuana, shortly before the onset of their symptoms. 64% reported using nicotine products. Only 11% reported using exclusively nicotine e-cigarettes. The CDC has also found that vitamin E acetate, which is often added as a thickener to marijuana vaping fluids, is a very strong culprit. Democrat governors such as Andrew Cuomo and Gavin Newsom, two of the worst governors in the country, who have supported legalizing marijuana, are attacking nicotine cigarettes while ignoring the striking links to marijuana. Go figure. The cognitive dissonance among Democrat politicians. In Oregon, a state audit this year found only 3% of recreational marijuana retailers had been inspected, and state marijuana production is 7 times higher than consumption. In other words, they're bootlegging it out of state. In California, only 16% of the 15.5 million pounds of marijuana produced in the state each year is also consumed in the state. So in other words, most of this stuff is being bootlegged outside the state where the marijuana is legal. Youth marijuana vaping has nearly tripled since 2017. Daily use has increased by 2/3. About 95%, this is the Wall Street Journal, about 95% of heroin and cocaine users report first using pot. Now the dopers are, yeah, like 99% report first using milk, dude. Totally. Studies show that marijuana users require more opioid medication to cope with pain than non-users. Older generations don't seem to realize that the pot grown and sold today is on average 4 to 5 times more potent than what they smoked in college. There's also a misconception that pot is no more addictive than alcohol. About 40% of people who used weed in the last month used it daily compared to 10% of booze drinkers. Rarely now could you take a walk in New York City without marijuana smoke wafting into your nostrils. While tobacco and e-cigarettes are denounced, smoking a joint is chill, man. and young people get the message. A mere 30% of 12th graders this year said smoking pot regularly was risky, down from 78% in 1990 and 52% a decade ago. Teens say pot is less risky than e-cigarettes. That's totally untrue, and easier to obtain than regular cigarettes. Well, they're probably right about that. I mean, but this is a serious problem, and and again, the politicians are looking the other way for whatever reason. 844. I think there are multiple reasons. A pothead population is easier to control than a non-pothead population, and also they figure they can make a lot of money off of pot taxes as time goes on. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of.
Hey, Howie.
Carr.
Yes.
I guess there's like
this hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Captain Parker's Chowder Company, the official clam chowder of the Howie Carr Show. Pick up some today at a supermarket near you. And thanks from the bottom of the bowl. It would have been what? John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the
He
past,
would have been deep hoped.
The board, the fill out the form. That's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile's amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures, and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile's amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures, and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If Mr. Gunnar was a person, what college would she attend?
The U.S. Coast Guard Academy.
Is Mr. Gunnar a conservative or a Democrat?
Mr. Gunnar is a fiscal conservative and a social liberal.
If you could have dinner with any president, dead or alive, who would it be?
Calvin Coolidge. He was from Massachusetts, and I liked his attitude towards public sector unions. And he said, the business of America is business. He's my guy.
Other than yourself, which columnist do you respect the most?
The late George Fraser, he was a columnist for the Boston Herald, the Boston Globe. Most people have forgotten him now. Jimmy Cannon was pretty good. He was so good that Mike Barnacle used to steal stuff from him all the time. Breslin was good in his early days, not so good later on, but when he was working for the Herald Tribune back when I was a kid in New York, he was damn good.
Hi, this is John in the People's Republic of Amherst, Massachusetts.
This is Heather from Litchfield, Maine.
This is Kent, Wichita, Kansas, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
So it looks like all the major contenders for the presidency released their quarterly reports today for the last quarter of 2019. All except one, the fake Indian. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. Why do I get the feeling that just about 24 hours from now, the fake Indian is going to be releasing some very disappointing numbers?
Another church shooting. Oh. And the only thing that saved the rest of the congregation were the other two people who shot and took out the shooter. Would you support a universal concealed carry law for everyone in the country who's willing to be licensed and checked by the government?
No.
You know, the guy who asked that knew what the answer was going to be, but I'm glad he still put it to her. And you guys played the
frightening though. All those people clapping, like so many lives were saved last week.
Well, how about the facts? A texter mentioned this earlier. How about we played the Julian Castro cut where he's talking about the men should have the right to free abortions, and they're clapping wildly. I mean, at the very least, don't you fall into kind of an embarrassed silence that somebody who was a cabinet secretary thinks that men can get pregnant? I mean, is that a mark for cheering? When somebody makes a crazy statement like that, I mean, these Democrat audiences are, I don't know what's wrong with them. This is I know Trump's up in all the polls now, but this is still pretty scary that it's going to be one-on-one against one of these people. 844-500-4242. Jay, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jay.
Hey, how are you, Howie?
Good.
I just want to say that I'm not totally against marijuana, but George Carlin, the comedian, he called this back years ago, back in the 90s. They want to just dumb down the population, and this just makes it easier for them.
The thing is, people there are a lot of people listening to us talk right now, and they're saying that he doesn't know, they don't know what they're talking about. But the fact is, I agree. I think marijuana is bad for you. And the thing is, well, what about alcohol? Well, the thing is, Jay, if we could go back and look at what's happened with alcohol, do you think that we would be as as eager to let everybody use it, or will we try to sort of control it a little more? I mean, I know prohibition didn't work. But I mean, is it better, or should we be encouraging people to use any drugs? I don't think so. Should we?
Do you remember grog in the Royal Navy years ago? They just on the ships in the Navy, they had a thing called grog. They used to ration the sailors rum, and they did it so they didn't mutiny and to keep them from asking questions and control.
Right.
To dumb them down, and this is kind of like the grog of today. Those in control want everyone on marijuana, so everybody's stoned, and they keep voting for.
Was it Karl Marx who said religion is the opiate of the masses? Now pot is the opiate of the masses, or maybe opium is the opium of the masses. But it's somebody said once about the British Navy, the Royal Navy. It's based on three things: rum, sodomy, and the lash. But rum was predominant. All right, we'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr.
Are you looking for a pre-owned car? Well, before you go to the dealership where you'll be pounced on by pushy salespeople, give the Car Guys a try. I'm Bill Papa George, and my job is to make finding the perfect used car as easy as possible. That means I do all of the tough legwork for you. Once I figure out what you want out of a car, I go find it. I've been in this business for a long time, and I know what to look out for. I won't bring you a car unless I know it will meet or exceed your expectations. So give me a call at 800-300-4600. That is 800-300-4600.
Hey, business owners and marketing professionals, would you like to advertise on the Howie Carr Radio Network? Howie's show reaches all across New England. And you know who's listening? Your next customer, client, or business lead. If you're interested in advertising on the Howie Carr Show, call 800-227-7300. That's 800-227-7300. You're listening to Howie, and so is your next customer. Call 800-227-7300 right now.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Out of all of your books, which is your favorite title and why?
I think my favorite title is Hitman because it's very effective. I thought long and hard about it. We're going to make it Boston Hitman, but then why make it Boston Hitman? Just make it Hitman. Make it a universal subject.
If you could have dinner with one author, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would probably have dinner with William Shakespeare. I know that's a cliche response, but he was the greatest writer in the English language, no question about it.
If you won Mega Millions, would you retire completely?
I used to say no, I would not retire, but yeah, I think I would retire now.
If you had to leave all of your money to one charity, which would it be?
The Salvation Army. I like what the Salvation Army does. I don't think they have too many highly paid executives trying to be social justice warriors.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. So what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. No, are we allowed to grow?
I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in.
I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year because I've destroyed her political career and now I won't get a chance to run against her, and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
Howie Carr Show.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And VB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year, because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever spent?
The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
I'm so proud of the campaign we've run together. But with only a month until the Iowa caucuses, and given the circumstances of this campaign season, I've determined that it simply isn't our time. So today, it's with a heavy heart and with profound gratitude that I will suspend my campaign for president. Ganaremos un día.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
I have a big announcement, and it's somewhere on my body. Someone did something a little weird to me when I was down there.
I don't want to know.
But it had to do with white power. I went hard in 2019.
Watch 2020, baby.
I'm having a hard time enunciating because you're plying me with alcohol. So what is Jaeger? Why is this different than tequila?
It's kind of licoricey.
This is CNN.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
How old are you, honey? You're 11 years old. Talk to me before we leave, okay?
As I keep getting older, they stay the same age. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
I agree. Don't touch kids ever again. Don't touch kids, you pervert.
Unchained and unstoppable.
To our adversaries, does it appear that President Trump is vulnerable right now when you look at him facing impeachment and an election?
I think the Iranians are going to continue putting this pressure on us no matter what.
And if I read you correctly, the Democrats might be favored by Iran because a Democrat might re-enter that nuclear agreement.
Exactly.
I'd love to try the case. If you give me the case, I will prosecute it as a racketeering case. It's been 30 years ago, but let's see if I can still do it.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. 978 says, I was listening to Castro's announcement, and I found that whenever a liberal says something is profound, it really isn't that profound at all. Yeah, that's, I mean, among other things. I mean, how about whatever they accuse you of doing, they're doing. But, you know, when I listened to that Castro announcement, I thought to myself, how do you say in Spanish, you won't have Castro to kick around anymore? Remember that was the last words of Nixon when he was defeated for governor of California in '62. You won't have Nixon to kick around. Castro should have said the same thing. 84.
Vaya con Dios, my darling.
Adios, amigo. El Twinbo from San Antone.
Also in his announcement, he said, it's very clear that the nomination process for president needs to be revamped.
So he's taking his ball and going, he lost, so we have to change the rules. Oh, okay. Someone wants to know, when was the last time Small Duvall was heard from? You know, I'll tell you when the last time Small Duvall was heard from. About the same time, last time we heard from Bill Weld. One of my regrets, Taylor, in becoming a Florida man is I'm not going to get to vote in the Republican primary, I guess, in Massachusetts. I guess I could, but I just as soon become a Florida man. And,
so are you going to start keeping up with the Florida hackorama now?
No, I'm going to keep up with the Massachusetts hackorama. I was looking around for that company that got all the where the guy killed the 13-year-old girl after leaving the company party at 7 a.m. that had $4 million worth of state contracts. I looked up to see if they had any, if they'd been making big contributions to Tal Duvall and Karen Polito. They weren't. No, I'm still a Massachusetts writer, and again, I know I'm not going to be able to beat Massachusetts income tax. So this is the beginning of a lengthy process. Look how long it took Rush to escape the shackles of New York State, and he hadn't lived there for his entire life. He'd only lived there for a few years. I got to do the poll. If you're watching me now on social media, you'll notice I'm wearing a different outfit. I'm wearing a pressed shirt, and soon I'll be in a sport coat. I'm going for dinner at Mar-a-Lago tonight.
Mar-a-Lago.
So I'm going to turn over the reins of the last segments to Grace and Taylor. But I got to do the poll question before I leave. Taste the amazing difference of ButcherBox by signing up at butcherbox.com/Howie and get $20 off your first box, plus 2 pounds of wild-caught Alaskan salmon in your first box. butcherbox.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Was it wrong for Pope Francis to slap the hand of the woman who tugged on his arm?
Yes, it was.
58% say yes.
Several prominent celebs, at least in the Howie Carr Show world, shed their mortal coils over the holidays. And one of them was Chuck Superfly Turner, the Boston city councilor who took $1,000. You know, I didn't, I never really agree with much of what Chuck Superfly Turner said. And we called him Superfly because he came out of his house, looked like the Addams Family mansion with a with his fly open. But he always said he was a victim of a racist frame. He did 28 months in federal prison for taking $1,000. And the same time that he died, I was doing research into what happened to all these state cops who stole tens of thousands of dollars. None of them did near 28 months. If you put it all together, they didn't do 28 months. If you put it all together, they barely did 2 months. So he had something to that. And we have a winner in the death pool, by the way, Don Imus, the I-Man. I had some run-ins with him. No need to go into it at this point. But we do have a winner. And when I get back to Boston in a week or so, a little over a week, 2 weeks, we'll have a new death pool. Do we have the winner? Can we announce his name, Taylor?
I don't have it offhand, but we can definitely get it.
All right. Okay, 844-500-4242. And I just want to mention too, speaking of death, the No Name restaurant on Northern Avenue will not be down for breakfast. You know what? I'm one of the people, I didn't know it was still open. I hadn't gone in many years, and people are nostalgic. They just went belly up one day. They hadn't paid property taxes since 2013. How was that possible? Apparently, according to the records I saw in the papers, they were still making like $2-3 million a year. I mean, the place had gone downhill apparently, but they weren't paying any taxes. It's amazing. Supposedly their landlord was Massport, but they also owed property taxes to the city. So I'm kind of confused about that part of the story. 844-500-4242.
Our winner's name from the death pool is John Q.
John Q. Where's he from? Or what area code is he from?
914.
914. Okay, he's outside the area. All right, congratulations, John Q. I don't know what you've won, but you have won something. 808 says, remember when that billionaire left Connecticut and punched a hole in the state budget? That actually was New Jersey, but I get yeah. How many mass recycling people are going to be fired now that Howie left? I don't think I'm that much of a drain on the state budget, but I'm glad to do my part to try to put a dent in the state budget. Rich, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rich.
He's not screen. Go to Bob.
Oh, Bob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, Howie. Thanks for taking my call. I'm a long-time listener.
Thank you.
First-time caller. I have been dying to get this point out there. Nobody's talking about the hypocrisy behind this whole legalization of marijuana. I'm up here in Maine. I'm a master electrician. I'm a veteran. And I've been doing electrical work for well over 30 years. And people just do not understand, or they're ignoring the fact that growing pot consumes enormous amounts of energy. And
I hadn't even thought about that part. I hadn't even thought about that part of it, Bob. I thought you were going to tell me that it was hard to get a stoned electrician to do a job right.
No.
I would prefer to have an electrician working on my house who didn't smoke pot. Let me put it that way. How about you?
There are areas in Maine. There are areas in Maine where we are upgrading services from standard 100 amp service to 400 amp commercial services so people can grow the stuff in their basement. And we have a governor who went to the United Nations and claimed how efficient Maine is and how we're going to be carbon neutral by 2040, and totally ignoring the fact that if it keeps going the way that it is, this state's going to be one of the least efficient states in the United States. And now she's pushing to make it legal federally. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, I think this is a very bad idea. And I think the Wall Street Journal got into it. People aren't considering that the pot that they smoked in college is a lot different than the pot that's out there now. And that, if a product's legal, even if the age is 21, it's going to be a lot easier for kids to get pot than it was even in the 60s and 70s, when it seemed like marijuana was ubiquitous everywhere. And it's just not a good thing to add another drug to the mix. And again, I'm not a prohibitionist, but it's just not good social policy to give people a chance to get really stoned and check out, especially in a welfare society. If you could make sure, or if you weren't going to be responsible for people who were just going to sit at home and turn into couch potatoes, which a certain percentage of pot smokers do, a fairly large percentage do. I mean, that would be one thing, but they're going to become deadbeats. Do we need any more deadbeats in this society? I don't think so. 844-500-4242. Taylor, you don't mind going with this for a little while. Looks like people want to talk about this for a bit.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so hang on. I'm going to check out tonight. If I see El Presidente, I'll give him your best. I'm probably not going to see him tonight. Most nights, not weekend nights, he doesn't come down. But I'm gonna go. I got to go over there. It's mixing business with pleasure. I'll be back, and we'll be talking about Elizabeth Warren's groundbreaking take for the quarter. That's why she's waiting until Friday afternoon to announce it. All right, I'll be right back, or I won't be right back. But Taylor and Grace will be right back with you. 844-500-4242. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
This hour.